Namaste, my sweet friends. Thank you so much for joining me for this gentle yoga practice. So I taught a gentle yoga class this morning live in person at the new JCC today, and it is just a riot and a half trying to get all the students and all the teachers all on the same page. Everyone's frazzled. It's a little chaotic. Everyone's, a little nervous about getting to the right room and getting their spot. And, I think change just brings that out in us naturally. And I was elated to see so many people in the gentle yoga practice. I was so excited, but then I couldn't get my phone to connect to the Bluetooth speaker, and so I just said, forget it, we'll just do what, yogis did traditionally back in the day, and that is practice without music. So I set my phone off to the side, and I got everybody into the starting position, which was Shavasana, and then all of a sudden, music started playing out of the speaker that was pretty upbeat tempo, like aerobics, something you'd play in an aerobics class. And everyone just started bursting out laughing in the middle of this gentle yoga class. Thankfully, it was right at the beginning. But we just all had to laugh and roll with the punches. Not ideal to be interrupted in your yoga class, but the fact that everyone laughed and shook it off really pleased my heart. It just made me smile and made me laugh at everyone. If you can laugh about something, especially in a yoga class when you get interrupted, you're doing something right. So the other thing is, it was only a 45-minute class, and it went by in a complete flash, and I told everyone that I wanted to petition to make the class longer, because it's really hard to do, in my opinion. It's difficult to do a thorough, full-body relaxation experience in a very short 45 minutes. So, but I do want to honor your time. So I'm going to try to keep this video to 45 minutes. It might drift a little longer. And if, we're not in Shavasana long enough for your taste, that you can always turn this video off and stay in Shavasana as long as you need. So the sequence that we're going to do today is the sequence that I wanted to teach in the class this morning, but I kind of had to drop half the class plan just because of all the little interruptions and whatever. It's all good. So we're going to get this class in one way or another today. So please join me. We're going to lay down flat on our backs in that Shavasana position. Take your time getting down there. Stretch the legs out long. Take a sigh, take a breath. Good. Feel those shoulders just sink heavy into the mat. Legs roll away from one another. Arms are down by your sides, just like our traditional Shavasana position. So give the legs a quick little jiggle, wiggle, shake here. Wiggle the fingers, maybe wiggle the jaw. Get the wiggles out, and then settle into a still position. Close the eyes. And engage with your conscious breath. Use this time to acknowledge the beginning of your yoga practice. I want you to take the awareness up to the brow. We'll start relaxing and smoothing things over from the top down. So the brow tends to be one of those places, think about how many times a day you furrow your brow. Even if you're not angry or upset, even if you're thinking or trying to figure something out, we tend to furrow the brow and hold tension there. So smooth and soften, not just the brow, but see if you can let that softness creep up into the hairline, into the temples, and down into the eye sockets. And just make sure that your eyelids are very gently, softly closed, like two little rose petals that gently come together. No pressure on the eye. And that softness extends down into the cheeks and into the jaw, where we separate the back teeth. Maybe swallow to relax the tongue. That tongue is a muscle, it gets a workout too, but it doesn't need to do anything for you in the next 45 minutes so it can just hang in the floor of the mouth. And the softness that we created in the brow travels down the face, travels down the neck into the shoulders, down the arms into the palms and fingers, down the spine into the low back, into the pelvic region. So all those pelvic floor muscles, we're not clenching, holding, or anything. Very soft, very relaxed. Low back is relaxed. So just give your full weight over to the floor. And let that softness start to travel down the legs, all the way down into the ankles, into the feet, and into each toe. Beautiful. Let's re-engage with the breath. So as you take these next few inhales, make sure you're doing so very softly. So back to the flower metaphor, we could pretend that we are smelling a flower that is very delicately scented. So we're just gently drawing in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. And once you feel like you have gotten your awareness back to the breath, we can take the breath a little deeper and a little slower. But remember, we're not trying to force as much air as we can into the lungs. The breath should always still feel natural. We're just taking it a little deeper. Hands to the low ribs or low belly here in supine position is a helpful guide. As you breathe in, the belly expands out and up. And as you exhale, we contract in and down. You might feel that spine and your tailbone press a little more into the mat. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. One more. Inhale, deep breath. And exhale. Good. Hands can come back down to your sides. Let's take awareness down to the feet. Pull your toes up to attention so they're pointing upwards. And then flex and point your toes. Flex and point. Gentle movement, intentional, good. And then make little circles with the ankles. So it's like you're drawing circles with the big toe one way, and take it in reverse. Good. And then toes back to attention. I want you to scrunch the toes and then spread them wide. Scrunch the toes, spread them wide. Good. Last time, scrunch. Last time, release. And then just let the toes flop away from one another. We're going to do the same thing with our hands and wrists. So attention up to the palms, the whole hands rather. Then we're going to make gentle circles here. So I've made a soft fist with my thumbs on the outside, so it feels as though I'm drawing the circles with my thumbs, one way and the other. And then keeping that soft fist, take your hands a little closer to the mat, and it's like you're knocking on, gently tapping on a door. We're tapping on the mat. And then release that, and we're going to spread the fingers wide, scrunch the fingers up. Spread the fingers wide, scrunch, spread them wide, scrunch, and then release. Let the palms, the whole hands, the whole arms relax. Good. All right, feet flat. We're going to bend at the knees. So when you do so, you feel like your back comes off the mat. You've got an arch in your back now. Pick up your butt, scoop it under, and set everything back down. So now we feel flat and flush to the mat. And then, I don't know what you've got on your ceiling, but maybe you can find a little spot that you can focus your eyes. This is what gentle yoga is all about, really calling home the true intention of all yoga, which is to focus the attention, mind, body, soul connection, doing things intentionally with awareness. So we hold our gaze, we pick up the right foot and cross it over the left knee and flex that foot back. So keep that foot and ankle active and tight. And as we inhale, the legs move in towards the upper body. We clasp around that left thigh and gently guide the legs in slightly more. You might already be feeling that nice deep stretch in the right hip. If so, that's a good place to leave it and instead shift the awareness back to your breath. If this feels neutral for you, you want a deeper stretch, you can work on lifting that left leg and pulling the legs in even more. Good. Awareness, intention here. Breathe. Hold your gaze. Stay present with your breath. Wonderful. Release out of this figure 4 stretch. We're going to switch sides. When you cross the foot over, make sure that left foot flexes. Gather the fingers behind the right thigh this time. Bring it in. Notice if this side feels more open or maybe it's tighter. Maybe you have to give less on this side. Deep breath in. Full, long breath out. And as your next exhale, everything comes back down. Both feet go flat to the mat. Take a nice cleansing breath here. I just noticed that my shoulders were creeping up. Make sure yours don't. And then just take the knees into a gentle windshield wiper from side to side. We're not coming into a full-on reclined twist. I just want you to get a little mobility happening in that spine. Wonderful. And then we'll come back to center here. And then we're going to roll, actually, we're going to just roll on over to the right side, kind of like we do at the end of class. We come up, up, up. Use our arms to push us up to our seat. Feeling pretty good here. So I want you to find a comfortable seat. So take your time in doing so, and maybe you don't need a prop for a comfortable seat. Maybe you do. Remember, you can prop that block right underneath your bottom, which lifts the hips and allows the knees to draw a little closer to the earth, which takes the strain out of the hips. The same can be done with a folded over blanket or whatever you've kind of got in your practice room, right? If you don't have those yoga props, you know, make do with what you have. But I just want you to feel comfortable in this next position that we're going to go into, which is baby cradle. So I want you to have your left leg sort of out in front, and we're going to pick up the right leg and we're going to cradle it like a baby. So that means the sole of your right foot is going to come into the left hand, or the crook of the elbow if you have an open, more open hip. The right arm is going to cradle the leg, and we just gently rock the baby. And I have to acknowledge my teacher here who sometimes says, you can imagine a puppy or a kitten if babies aren't your thing. We just give it a sweet little rock here. Breathing into that hip, letting this feel gentle, subtle, slow, good. All right, and then we're going to set that baby down, or puppy or kitten, and we're going to rock the other leg. So take your time building, getting that correct alignment here. One important aspect I want you to notice is your ankle. If your ankle has sickled or turned to the left or right, adjust it so that your foot is still in line with the rest of your leg. Just keeping nice healthy alignment here for the leg while we work on opening our hip. All right, we're going to set this leg down. Come back into your comfortable seat. Again, whatever that is, cross-legged, Indian style, up on the block, up on a blanket, however you like to sit. We're going to let the hips be for a moment. We're going to come back and focus on the upper body. So I want you to plant, and you can have a block here. You're going to plant your right hand over to the side, and you can use a block here. So some people's arms are really short and some people's arms are really long. So short-armed people might need the block to help, get something to push into. All right, so we can all experience the same benefits. So once this right arm is long and planted, we're going to extend the left arm over here. We're going to look at it. And our palm is up, so I want you to pretend like you're scooping something a little heavy. Inhale, come all the way up. And maybe your head turns and looks back down at that right arm. Or we look up and under. Good, we're going to exhale, and I want you to take that left fingertips, notice the moment they graze the mat. And again, inhale, lift off, bringing it up and over. Hold for a count of 1 and 2. Exhale down. Good. Again, inhale. Last time we come up and over for a count of 3. Side stretch. Breathe into that left side body. 1, 2, and 3. Exhale. Good. Kind of bring the spine back into alignment here. Plant that left palm on the mat or on a block. Look at your right palm. Scoop it with intention. Inhale, lift, reach tall. Breathe into that right side body. We're over here for just a breath. In and then down. Slow. Keep in mind, moving slow. Inhale, lift. We'll hold for a count of 1, 2, and come back down. Last time, inhale. Breathe deep into that right side body. Hold for 1 and 2 and 3. Lovely. Come on back. All right. Both arms are going to reach out and up. Right here at the top. So on your exhale, I want you to feel the shoulder sink back into its socket. So we're trying to do 2 things here. One, we're trying to lengthen the arms up but keep the shoulders down. Requires a little bit more brain power there. We've got to think about it a little. We're going to come into a gentle twist. So as we exhale, the left arm will float to the front, right hand to the back, and we'll use those connections. If you need to have a block behind you for something for your hand to hold on to, go for it. We're gently twisting, either looking to the side or maybe glancing over our back shoulder. Keep that back shoulder pulling back. Don't let it creep forward. Awesome. Inhale. We sweep up. Little arm check here. Arms lengthen up, but shoulders lengthen down or pull down. Exhale, other side for the twist. Remember to sit tall. Keep your sit bones down. Pull that left shoulder back and breathe. Awesome. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, I want you to take the arms to a T and really lengthen out. So you can imagine someone on either side of you gently pulling your fingertips to either side. And I want you to, so thumbs are pointing forward right now. So use your thumbs as your guidepost here. So as we inhale, we're going to turn the thumbs backwards and down slightly. And as we inhale, we're going to turn them forward and maybe turn them all the way back towards the wall. So you can tell we're kind of doing an internal and an external. Sorry, that is the internal. This is the external rotation, but notice where that movement originates from. It's from the shoulder. We're not just twisting wrists and hands here. So it's a full arm movement. Breathe. Again, we're moving slow. We're moving with intention. And we're moving with our breath. So keep awareness on that inhale. Keep awareness on the exhale. Notice when the heat creeps into the shoulder. We want that. Means we're doing something. Good. Give me one more each way. Internal and external. Good. Relax. Give the fingertips a little tip. Tap, tap, tap while the blood flow kind of returns to our arms. And a breath. Always want to connect with that breath between the things that we do, between our postures, our poses, to help remove and release any fatigue that we may have created in the body, especially in a gentle yoga class. So we're going to take the arms, back out and up, back to this upward position. I want you to, again, lengthen up, but sink the shoulders down. And I want you to do the same thing. So this time my thumbs are pointing backwards. So I want you to inhale, rotate them forward. Exhale, rotate them almost to the side. So do the best you can. Our arms have a limited range of motion in this position. So if you feel like you're not getting a super big twist, you're not defective. It's okay. I also feel restricted here. But you really want to feel that nice, tight, twisting action coming from your deltoids. Keep going. Hold your eyes in one on an unmoving spot. Breathe. Good. Give me one more each way. We're going to float the arms down. Tap to release and also create some fun sensory tingling in the hands and fingers. Good. Let the arms rest on your legs. Close the eyes and take a breath. You can just feel the endorphins kind of creeping in. And even doing something simple like what we just did with the shoulders really increases the heart rate. Maybe you notice that too. Once again, we're going to take the arms out wide. We're coming into eagle arms. So arms wide. Arms move towards the center of the body, but the right arm is going to cross on top. So the elbows are kind of touching here. We got to get that twist. But I want to stop here and I want to make mention, because I know not everyone can easily whip their arms into this twist, okay? If you notice, well, I'll just say the goal of this hand position, this arm position, is to spread the shoulder blades wide on the back body, okay? All right, so I'm feeling a tremendous stretch right here, upper back body. That same stretch can be achieved by simply bringing the palms and forearms together and pushing. All right, you got to push from finger pads all the way down to your elbows. So take that as an alternative. If you're here with me on the eagle arm twist, good. Squeeze to enhance that stretch along the back. And then here we go with a subtle little change to this pose. As you inhale, I want you to lift the arms just a bit. Exhale, lower just a bit. Inhale back to center, give it another squeeze, and then exhale, fly away, arms wide, relax for just a bit, and you can do that fun little tap if you want. Nice little sensory experience there. Arms are going to reach back out to the sides. We'll do the other arm. So if you took this version for the first go around, take it for this one as well. Give yourself a little break. Good, so if you're here with me in eagle arms, this time the left arm crosses over. We get that twist. Create the squeeze, inhale, lift. You don't have to lift high. Exhale, take the arms down slightly. Inhale, back to center where we started. Give it another squeeze. And exhale, fly away, relax the arms down. You're always welcome to close the eyes when we take these little mini breaks. Take a breath in and out. Good. Notice how you feel. That back body's just kind of singing me a little song right now. It feels really good. Feels nice and open. So we're going to come forward out of our seat. If you're on a prop, just set it to the side. Keep your mat clear at all times, just for safety. We're going to come into tabletop position. So palms flat, fingers wide. I had a lot of excellent feedback from students in today's class about wrist strain. So we're going to do a lovely wrist warm up, and we're not going to do down dog. We're not going to do anything that's going to put too much weight bearing on the wrist. Tabletop is about as hard as it's going to get today. So you can cheer silently or cheer out loud to yourself for that, but I do want to give us a lovely wrist warm-up because it does tend to be an issue for a lot of yoga students. So one of the things that we can do right off the bat to make sure that we're encouraging the wrist to be flexible and stay out of that realm of strain and pain, is to flatten your palms as much as you can and spread your fingers as wide as you can. As my teachers say, animal paws, not oven mitts. So don't let your fingers kind of curl and creep together. Stay flat, stay strong. You can even curl your finger pads into the mat like you're clawing at your mat. Elbows are soft. That's another key component here. We don't want to lock the elbows. So this first little warm-up stretch, you can curl your toes and invite the toes into this party too. We're making circles. Your circles can be big. Your circles can be small. Each time that you go around, and again, we're going slow. I say that sometimes because I got to remind myself. We're going slow because I want you to notice the stretch, where you're feeling it, how the hands move to keep you stable. All right, pause and reverse. Notice the stretch in the toes too, if they're curled under. Good. All right, let's come on back to center. We're going to turn the hands so that the fingers are pointing towards one another, towards the center line of your mat. So this might feel a little weird. So I still want you to keep palms flat, fingers wide. And again, with a soft elbow, start small here. I don't want you to strain anything. And I don't want no injuries here. The wrist is a very small, tender, delicate joint, so it needs to be coaxed into warming up. We got to write it a love letter here. So go in reverse. This is a love letter to our wrists. Lubricating that joint. Excellent. Come back to center. All right, we're going to turn the fingers now towards the outer edges, the long edges of our mat. So now our wrists are facing the center line of the mat, palms flat, fingers wide. And again, start small, make some circles. And reverse, reverse. Don't lose your breath. All right, we got one more to do. Come back to center. This is the most difficult one, I think, and if you don't like how it feels, skip it. Skip it. We're going to turn the fingers towards our body. So the wrists are pointing towards the short edge of the front of your mat. So I don't recommend doing circles in this position. Instead, I recommend leaning your weight from side to side, slowly, palms flat, fingers wide. Do the best you can. Wonderful. All right, my friends, so turn your hands back the normal way. And then I want you to sit back on your heels if possible, just so you can get the weight off of your wrists for a minute. Now, very gently here. Don't snap or fling your wrists. It's a very gentle little bobbing of the wrists here, like you're waving bye-bye. And then you can interlace your fingers here and do a little roller coaster action to just lighten things up here. You can go in the reverse direction, which requires a little extra brain power, I think. We always want to go in the default way. Good. And then just give some gentle, loose rotations here. Hopefully you can feel that joint a little warmer, a little more flexible. It's going to feel a little bit better for what we're about to do. So we're going to come back into our tabletop position. Fingers flat, fingers wide, palms flat, knees right underneath your hips. Let's come through a few rounds of our cat-cow. Great warm up for the spine, but also for the neck. So as we inhale, the belly drops and it feels like we're pulling the chest through the arms as we look up. This is our cow stretch, like a cow saying moo. All right, exhale. We round the spine up towards the ceiling. We're tucking the tailbone. We look back towards our navel. And inhale. Inhale, look up. Not round the spine. Belly drops towards the floor. Exhale, round. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Good. Come back to neutral table. Walk your knees as wide as your mat. Turn the tops of your feet down. Big toes touch. Stretch your rear end towards your heels. Stretch your arms towards the short edge of your mat. So we come down on forearms here, and then your forehead is sort of the last little thing that comes down. If your forehead is hovering above your mat, grab your block, grab a blanket, grab a pillow, stack your palms, do something so that your forehead, and hence really it's for the neck, is supported. We don't want any hanging going on here. No gravity pulling us down without support underneath us. So child's pose is great for the spine. It's our quintessential rest pose where we're pretty much unengaged. This is the pose to come into when you feel like, oof, I need a rest. What we're doing is too tough. I'm going to come into child's pose and rest. So the way that we come out of this pose, and you can just see if you can do this with listening instead of looking up at the screen, you're going to slide your palms back towards you, under your shoulders, near your face. Push yourself up so that we don't use the low back to come up. And we're going to make moves to come back to our table. And then I want you to pick up your feet and just give the ankles a little rotation, little yogi's choice stretch here since we were just sitting on them. And then, all right, so I want you to make sure that your palms are flat, fingers wide again. We're going to challenge the core a little bit. So we're going to push our hands into the earth as the knees come up. So my toes are tucked here. It's easier, I think, with the toes tucked. My knees are hovering just a couple inches off the mat. Breathe. And set it down. Good. Make sure your elbows are bendy. We're not locking the joint. One more time. Inhale, lift. Good. Exhale, lower. Wonderful. Okay, so if this weight bearing that we've just done is a little too much, you can always just sit back, give the wrists a break again. You don't have to go through that whole wrist warm up again, but you can do a couple of the little moves to kind of take the weight out of your upper body. Again, we are not looking to fatigue ourselves here. We're looking to stay in that gentle realm. Good. All right. We're going to come back and we're going to do another little core move. I love this one, balancing stick. This is great. So once again, our tabletop position. We're going to drag the right toes back towards the short edge of our mat behind us. The left arm is going to reach out long in front of us like we're going to shake someone's hand. And we're looking down at the mat so that our neck and spine stay long. And then we're going to pick up that right leg. So now we're balancing on the right hand and the left knee. Whew, little core work here, my friends. Breathe. Find a little fleck on your mat. Focus there. Breathe. And exhale. I want you to slowly bring it down. Good. Redistribute your weight. Take a breath. Left toes drag towards the back, leg is long and engaged. Inhale, take the right arm out, thumb up, and then lift that leg. So really reach through that back heel and reach through your lifted fingertips. So long, think long thoughts here. Breathe. And exhale, we bring it back down. I want you to come back into child's pose. So take the knees wide, big toes touch, rear end comes to rest on the heels, come to the forearms, forehead down. Remember, forehead needs to rest on something. Close the eyes. Connect with your breath. Now that we've started moving, we've been moving for a while, maybe the breath feels nice and deep. Sometimes my teachers say juicy. I don't really like that word, so I'll just say deep. Nice deep breath, satisfying belly breath. So breathe in deep. If you want that exhale, that audible deep exhale, take it. Otherwise, try to control your slow, smooth exhale. And we're going to come out of child's pose, just like we did a moment ago. Hands slide back to shoulders. Push yourself up. We can come to table, and we're going to transition to standing. So one way you can do it is to step into plank, step a foot forward, step another foot forward, and then come to standing. There's really no wrong way to come to standing. Again, to quote my teachers or to paraphrase what they say, somehow, some way, just escape the pose. So come into standing. And we're going to get ready to do just a couple standing postures here, nothing too terribly difficult, and then we'll be back down to the mat for our finishing sequence and Shavasana. All right, my friends, here we are standing at the top of our mats in Tadasana. So let's take an inhale and roll the shoulders or scrunch the shoulders up towards the ears and then take them back and then let them gently roll down. So we kind of set the shoulder blades in the right place. Let the arms kind of naturally stretch down at your sides. Long neck, we're finding a gazing point right in front of us. We're active from head to toe, standing tall, standing like a mountain. So like a mountain, its lower half is rooted into the earth, and the other half rises tall. So that's how we should feel here, like a mountain. We're going to come into a gentle forward bend, Uttanasana. So I want you to look down at your feet and separate them to about hip distance. It might be a little wider. It's okay if we go a little wider. All right, and then I want you to take your hands, and I'm actually going to turn towards you so you can see what I'm doing here at the get-go, where your hip points are. So we kind of, it's like we're pushing them back to get into the right alignment to fold. So what we want to avoid is this rounding, hunching, stretching, straining towards the floor. Instead, we hinge from our hips. So it feels like you're pushing your butt back. Your spine is long. And then about halfway down is when you can start to bend the knees into this lovely deep stretch and really round forward towards the ground, rounding over your legs. And then we come into what we call ragdoll, which is hands taking opposite elbows. Head and neck are absolutely relaxed here. We're not holding tension. In fact, I like to give the head a nod and a shake and gently encourage some body swaying here. This should feel good for your spine. Breathe. Good. Come back to stillness. Release your elbows. And you can either have your block here, which I've neglected to put down in front of me, or you can push your palms into your shins and lift halfway so we have a nice long spine, long neck. So our forward fold is called Uttanasana. This is Ardha Uttanasana, half forward bend. From here, I want you to just drag the arms up the legs and come back to standing. And I'm going to turn to face you again. You can stay at the top of your mat just so you can see me a little better what we're doing here. So my arms are going to get a little cut off at the top. I just can't I can't help that here. But you can use your imagination and you're going to get the idea of what we're doing. So again, with feet hip distance or maybe a little wider, whatever is comfortable for you. Right hand can stay at your right side. We're going to cup the left palm and look into it. And as we inhale, kind of like we did when we were seated a moment ago. Inhale, lift. We're going to come up all the way over and side bend as deeply as you comfortably can. And exhale. That arm comes down. Inhale again. We're going to hold for a count of 2. Up and all the way over. Side bend. 1 and 2. Exhale, down. Third one, last one. Inhale, lift, lift, lift. Hold for a count of 1 and 2 and 3. Exhale. Come on down. Beautiful. Nice deep breath as we change sides, cupping the right palm with intention here. This is another thing I just did automatically. I want you to do it too. Lift the chest. Inhale, scooping something slightly heavy with that right arm up and over, side bend, and back down. Great. Inhale. Take your time getting up and over into this awesome side stretch. Enjoy it. 1, 2. Exhale, float the arm down. Again, we're not just whipping the arm up and down. Last time, inhale. All the way up and over for a count of 1, 2, and 3. Exhale. Beautiful. All right, here we are. Let's step the feet together. Vrikshasana, tree pose. If you need to take yourself to a wall for a little balance, perhaps you have a little piece of furniture, a chair or a sofa around, make sure we're going to start by firming up the left leg, so you want to have that balance prop on your left side. So left leg is strong, hands to the waist as a reminder to keep grounded in the low half. Turn the right toes out. Bring them back so the heel can stay right here on the ankle. Can go to the calf. And since this is a gentle class, I'm just going to stop there. Really not trying to get that foot any higher. I just want you to avoid the knee area. And then, and only when you feel grounded and stable here, again, it helps to look at a little unmoving spot. Practice taking your branches all the way up. And if up overhead just totally throws off your center of gravity, bring the palms to touch in a very soft, lovely Anjali Mudra in front of your heart. So this is partially what this hand position is meant to do, which is to unify the two halves of our body, right? To help keep us balanced and focused. Thumbs can press lightly into the sternum. Good. Exhale. If your branches are all the way up, slowly float them down. When they come down, allow your foot to find the earth. Gently bend the knees here to reset the joints. Right leg is strong, so make sure you've moved your prop if you're using it. Left toes turn out, hands to the waist to ground, and bring that foot back. Let the heel rest here or come to the calf. Maybe this is a more balanced side for you. Maybe it's a less balanced side for you. You kind of have to notice and honor those differences in yourself, which are completely normal. We all have those. Imbalances in our bodies. So either arms up or hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position in front of the heart. Whoop. I'm a little wobbly today. Good. Reach tall, ground down. You got this. One more breath in, reach tall, and exhale. Arms release first, and then the feet or the foot, and we bend the knees. Wonderful job. So while we're here, we can give the toes another little scrunch if you want to rotate the ankles out just from standing. If it's created any tension in the low half, let that go. And then we're going to come back down to the mat, but we're going to take a squat to get there. So I want to show you or tell you that the two options, so I know not everyone can get into that low squat. It does require really flexible, strong knees, ankles, and hips. So if any one of those are tight or immobile, low squatting is really difficult. It can be made less difficult by squatting on your yoga block, right? I've got mine up on its tallest level, so we can work here. But I also want to let you know that a high squat is a great way to work on opening those joints that I mentioned and building strength at the same time. So for a high squat, the feet need to be a little wider, quite a bit wider than, well, not quite, halfway between super wide and hip distance. So we have to, again, sort of hip points here as the guide. We kind of push our butt back, push our hip bones back, start to bend the knees. Arms, forearms rest on the thighs here, head and neck, just kind of, whoop, we give over to gravity. And we work here. And we breathe. So wherever you are, low squat, high squat, just notice what's going on in the body. Notice how this particular pose affects your mind. Like what's going on in the brain in this particular pose. Good. If you are in a low squat, you can fully lower yourself to your rear end. If you're in the high squat, somehow, some way, I want you to get back down. Just be careful. Let your hands drop to the floor as you guide yourself down. Again, there's no graceful way to do it sometimes. Sometimes you just have to escape the pose. So we're coming into a modified seated forward bend that is an absolute delight for the back. Lovely back stretch. So take a moment here, and if you need to kind of pull your hamstrings, a little self-massage, pull your hamstrings to the side. All right, give the calf a little massage. You're just creating some friction in the low half. All right, you can do a little rub on the knees. Good. And I want you to keep your knees bent here, but come up onto your heels. Toes are flexing back towards your face. We're going to hug our thighs here. So the arms are swan diving underneath us here. And so my hands are taking kind of opposite biceps. Notice that my spine is rounded. That's okay. That's what we want. So two things have to happen. We have to pull back on the legs, and the legs have to resist. So we're digging the heels in. And then the forehead kind of gently bobs or bows towards the knees. And I want you to breathe here in this beautiful modified stretch for the back. Good. Next inhale, you can lift the head. Exhale, release your arms. Set the legs long, give them a little windshield wiper, a little, whatever you call this, I don't know, it's just a nice release, little sensory experience for the body. So we are lowering down here, once again, coming back to our backs, and I want you to have the legs long at first, so reach the arms up overhead, give yourself a big gigantic stretch. Let that feel good. Relax it all, bring the arms back down. Nice and slow, good. Bend your knees, feet flat. And I'm sorry, I meant to tell you to bring your block with you guys. Please have one block within reaching distance. We're going to come into bridge pose. So feet flat, just kind of look up at your knees. Make sure that they're not your feet aren't as wide as your mat and they're not touching, so it's a nice little, split the difference between the two. And once again, if your back feels not flat, pick up your butt, scoop, and set everything down, and then relax your shoulders. Bridge pose. This is going to be a lovely back bend that we get to hold a little longer because we're going to let the prop support our body. So I want you to think about your tailbone. Notice where your tailbone is, a little bony protrusion at the end of your spine. We start to gently curl the tailbone up, and then the spine, the low back, starts to lift. Coming all the way up. So now is the time to grab your block and put it on its lowest level. Unless, of course, you know that you like it on level 2. I recommend if you are new, especially because this is gentle yoga, go to level 1. So slide that block right underneath your sacrum, which is a little lower than your tailbone. So when you set your bottom back down on that block, it should feel just right, like 100% perfect, supportive, comfortable. If you need to wiggle it around, micro adjust here, I want you to do that. I want you to be completely comfortable because we're going to be here for a minute. So notice now that the lower half is supported on this block, it's not that we forget about it, but rather we shift our awareness to the upper body. So what's happened here? We've created a lovely back bend. We have really opened the front of the body. So you can even exaggerate that by arms pushing down. You can lift the chest even higher. And then I want you to lift your chin away from your chest. It feels like you're gently pressing the back of the head into the mat. And I want you to breathe here. We're not maxing out any effort that we're making. So if you're pushing your arms down, it's a gentle push. Let the eyes close. Again, those two little soft rose petals coming together, so no pressure on the eye. Enjoy the openness in the upper body. The rib cage is spread wide. The lungs have room to expand. We can take some really beautiful deep breaths here. This helps counteract all that hunching, that unconscious hunching we might do sitting at a desk, sitting on the sofa, sitting in our cars, right? We kind of get the opposite effect, the opening of the front body. Engage with your breath. Wonderful. Take another breath. Slow, controlled exhale. And on your next inhale, gently lift the hips, slide your block out, and lower down with control. Lovely. All right, we're going to lift the feet off the mat and bring the legs back towards us. Hands reaching for the pinky toe sides of your feet, coming into a little happy baby stretch. One last awesome stretch for our hips before we head into Shavasana. So I want you to hold this stationary for a few heartbeats here. Be present with the stretch. Breathe into the hips. And then exhale, let go of your feet, send them back down. Good, I want you to gently encourage both knees to fall to the left as your right arm stretches out long to the right and you look to the right. So a little gentle crocodile twist here. Eyes closed if you wish, as we're heading towards Shavasana. It's a good time to signal to the brain that we're about to do some relaxation. Let's come to center and go to the other side. Gentle twist. Always feels so nice for the spine. And inhale. Let's come up. Stretch your legs long. Let your legs roll away from one another. You can go back to that little wiggle, jiggle, shake here. Arms to the sides. And your palms, traditionally in Shavasana, they shine upwards and you don't have to force the finger curl. They should just sort of naturally curl in towards your palms. Shoulders relax. Take a deep breath. We have a little deflating side, always feels good. Another excellent way to induce relaxation is to take a deep breath and hold it softly. Puff out the cheeks and pop the air out of your lips like a balloon. It's also a nice way to relax the face. After you've taken as many of those nice deep sighs, those deep exhales, let your breath come back to normal, just your average, everyday breath. Once again, the eyes are very softly closed. You're breathing in very gently through the nose. The tongue has relaxed into the floor of the mouth and the back teeth are separated. You might notice your lips and teeth part a little bit, and that's okay. We're just giving ourselves everything over to gravity here. So once again, giving your full weight to the floor beneath you, relaxing those facial muscles, but then continuing down the body. Do that little scan, shoulders, arms, spine, low back, pelvic muscles. No clenching, no tightening. And letting your mind just drift away. We're not hanging on to any thoughts in particular. Not planning dinner in our head. Not obsessing over something that's in the past. Just staying here with your breath. Because in this moment with your breath, everything is okay. Everything is perfect, in fact. Your practice was perfect today. You did everything the way you were meant to do it. And every time you step a toe on your yoga mat, effort is what matters. That is where the magic lies in your practice. It's not about judging yourself for how good or bad, right? There's no judgment here. Don't use yoga to beat yourself up. Use it to feel better, body and mind. So this class will end, but you can continue to stay in Shavasana. When the body starts to feel heavy and warm, you know you have reaped the benefit of Shavasana. And it might take a minute to get there. So don't rush yourself through this very vital resting process. It's just as important as all the poses we've done before this one. This is the most important pose, so release all of that fatigue. Give your nervous system a break. I'd like to thank you for joining me for this gentle yoga practice. I will see you in the next video. Namaste, friends.